So, welcome everyone. Regular board meeting, Wednesday, June 7th, Tickaboo Utility Improvement District. Thank you all for coming. Michael Morlang had to excuse himself. He had conflicting obligation. So, Amy and I are a quorum. We are it. Mike has reviewed the agenda and he trusts us to not make any rash decisions. Let's call the meeting to order and do a roll call of the board members that are here. Amy Golden and Alexa Wilson. I'm here. Adoption of the agenda. Amy, you want to?
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda.
And I second that. And all in favor say aye and wave.
Aye.
Amy and Alexa both. So we're good with that. Approval of the minutes. I've read them. They look fine. Well, Amy, you wrote them, so you think they're fine. So
I make a motion that we adopt the minutes from last meeting.
I second the motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're doing an electronic meeting. We're still without an anchor location, and we're still working off the COVID legislation that allowed us to have meetings without an anchor location. So we're just still doing that. Public comments. TUID welcomes public comments. We have 15 minutes. Anyone present can speak for up to 3 minutes, and you can either just start talking or raise your hand or make your presence otherwise known. We're not doing question and answer, but outside the meeting, you can always call us, email, stop us in the street. Jane. You're on mute. You're on mute, Jane. You're still on mute.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
There you are. The floor is yours.
I was pushing the thing. So,
Okay.
So I did a letter just basically outlining. I did a text or email today and sent it to everybody to include all 3 board members. So I'm just kind of going to be in the background until you guys want to talk any further about the bids that we put in on the properties. I assume that's been handed out to everyone, or you have copies of it there. So
we will get to that later, but John will read the bids.
Yeah,
offers, I should say.
I've just introduced myself. I'm Gene Babalus. So.
Oh, good to see you.
Okay.
Are you in Tickaboo right now, or do you live somewhere else?
No, I live in Ogden.
You live in Ogden?
In God's country.
That's where that is.
Yep,
Yes, we should visit one of these days.
That's what people in Salt Lake think. I mean, they think it's 800 miles to Ogden, and they don't go this way. So.
Yeah, I used to live north of the city of Amsterdam, and I could have sworn that the distance from north to center of town was shorter than the other way around, the way people were acting.
I was going to ask you about your accent. I thought it was almost German, but you're close.
Yeah, well, close enough.
Yeah, I majored. I lived in Switzerland for several years, and I majored in German.
Good. Well, maybe I remember some of my high school German. We can have a conversation in German one of these days. Okay.
That's good.
Well, thank you.
I'll go on mute and just sit back and listen to what's going on. And I'm available if you want to ask anything or talk about anything.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Thanks, Jim.
thank you.
Board report. On my end, the main thing that happened is that we visited UAMPS, which is the Utah Association Municipal Power Suppliers or something like that. Anyway, it's set up like a special service district, and it works with power districts and cities to in all sorts of different projects. They started being engaged in 2016, helping with some serious air quality issues. They spent a lot of time coming up with all sorts of different alternative resource plans. It never quite penciled out. But they do seem like a very good organization that I think we should keep in the loop for the foreseeable future. They can help out with a lot of things. Anybody who wants to know more about that can contact us. It's we're going to discuss it later to discuss continuing UAMPS membership and who the representative will be. Can I turn it over to John for a quickie update on the real work?
Yeah. Would you guys like me to read the report that I sent to you guys as a board?
Maybe not word for word.
Okay.
Maybe just a summary. What I got from it was that there are many things that kind of sort of work, but not quite.
Yeah, obviously
it's an endless job to go through all of that, and I appreciate all the good work that you do trying to piece it all together.
Yeah, no, it's constant, and it's a complicated process, so it does require time and then time again. But yeah, I'll just kind of go through that and summarize what I wrote to you guys, hit the highlights of it as you suggested, Alexa. Again, it's good to have knowledge that I do pre-existing, but then there's site specific knowledge. So we gain that every day. There's little quirks and nuances, but TUID has good equipment that was well designed and well built. The challenge comes in maintaining that. Anytime you have things that it's mechanical, then there's a life to it and repair and maintenance and use. So that's the big challenge, on that and keeping things up to date. And recently we had Wheeler Cat in to do some maintenance. We're about halfway where we need to be. And what I mean by that is we got, things like new belts, small items like radiator cap for the machines that, are critical to their performance. We got a new front main seal, which cures an oil leak, and are getting an original hose to cure another oil leak from a filtration system we're going to redo. So that keeps them physically reliable. So that, that part is good. What the next step we need to do is the communications in. They're sophisticated machines and they're electronically communicating. We're still working on the updates for that. They still have small hiccups with error codes and how they communicate sometimes. So that, a couple other guys from Wheeler are showing up on Friday. And as you mentioned, Alexa, that was born from you guys' visit with Jackie at UAMPS. They want to talk. So that would be good to, again, meet those guys and get them to help us there too. So moving on from that, that's obviously the biggest thing we do with those, physical facilities and the power plant and the well houses. The other part is getting administrative items caught up. again, from compliance, which, for a small district, there's a lot of state compliance and rules and regulations that go with it, and they're due, monthly revolving. We just got of course, we got the consumer confidence report out for 2022 for the water system. We just had the backflows tested, which is part of the, cross contamination and backflow systems for TUID. They've been tested and certified at their due date. So we've taken care of those items, too, on the physical end and compliance end as well there. So, and as you guys saw, I sent you some, I call them a raw financial because they're pulled from bank statements, which is, a good way to look at income and expense. It doesn't allocate some of that into the proper months, like accounting reports do, but it's good to look at them and see the trends, how they're hashing out, what we're spending. There's always questions. There's some expenses on there. They have a series of 18 numbers, but that's it. So part of my job is to, ask who and why, where those charges are from and who and how they're being paid. They're being paid through automatic draft, but you just want to examine and audit those and make sure those are, something that we need or have signed up for, so to speak, on those.
So how much are we paying for our loan for the generators?
I've seen two different amounts. An older invoice that I got from Utah Division of Finance was $12,000, and then the statement and the one I got today was $8,000.
Is that $8,000 per year, per month?
I think it's monthly. Yeah. Yeah, from what I understand. I'll look that over closer and update you guys. And that's one that I would like to have a conversation with them and understand exactly, how that works. I think it was a combination of a loan, which I think UAMPS played a role, I think, in that too. A bit of
it. That was the first thing they did for us. Get us a new generator so we could be in compliance with air quality rules.
Yeah, I've seen that it was them in a community outreach. I think they bridged that gap with those guys too. So it'd be nice to see how that works with the bonds and the loan. And
I think it was UAMPS that helped us apply for a CIB loan.
I think so. Yeah. So that I'll clarify that for everyone again, because there are two different amounts on that too, and get a grip on the maturity of it. And that's one, as we talk about these ACHs coming out of the bank, we know it's due, make a life easier and not have to get a paper bill on that one, for time. And we know it's a set expense for a very valid reason. So so that's part of the process, is getting a grip on that. And, again, watching our cost, again, as you guys saw, that's the biggest chunk of our cost goes to producing a kilowatt hour of electricity. It's between the fuel and repair and maintenance and the labor with that. But there's still steps to be taken. We do have some things, again, passed to catch up on the audits and different items, and then then the daily maintenance and repetitive items stay there too. But we're taking the steps in the right direction to get the back due items done, and then stay on top of items that are due today.
Have you started that maintenance thing that we talked about last time?
Yeah, I'm starting to build our site. Where you
so you have to procure the software.
Yeah, we did get that. We went ahead and paid for the entire year because they do give you a savings when you pay up front, which was right at $1,500 for the year, and that's with the 3 users. So I'm putting in the input now where we can put the equipment and the sites in and the processes that should help us be more efficient too, and we can pull reports from that. And when you tie that in with bank statements and bills too, it's just a even clearer picture where your money's going. To be intelligent and make decisions and As we talk about looking at new generators, and of course, one we need now to replace the MQ. That's going to be a benefit to us, and that's kind of regressing a bit. That's what I plan to talk to Kat about when they visit. It would be nice to have a fourth machine, that outputs a lower kilowatt hours and, doesn't lug in communications with the cats that are there. That's a tall order, probably some expense, especially when you tie them in on the comms end. But that's something I'll bring up with those guys, as an option to present to the board in the near future too.
Great. Anything else you feel we should know?
Not really. Like I mentioned, so far the customers have been caught up, and people have contacted me via the web, which we're working on a phone. We're close, but I appreciate the customers using the web contact form. And again, we're talking about things that are technical, so in writing is a really good way to discuss these things. They're on record, but they've been understanding and helped me get an account cleared up for them. People, again, as I mentioned to you guys, the biggest confusion for people are things like fees and rates. So we want to work to educate people and simplify that for everyone too, and be transparent, and want them to feel comfortable, as to what they chose and what they're paying, and fees involved for in relation to their new lot owners.
Yeah, that needs to be as clear as possible, and it is confusing.
Right.
So we need to look at that at some point in a not too distant future.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Now we're moving on to the new business. Meeting schedule. I just read somewhere that we're supposed to have a meeting schedule for the whole year, every year, which I guess we didn't do this year, but we'll know better for next year. Last time we talked about going to once every 3 month schedule. So that would bring us in the beginning of September and the beginning of December. I would like to propose September the 13th, just because I am on vacation with my brother and his wife, who are coming over from the home country during that week. And then December 6th.
Madam Chair.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, do we not have to have a meeting in November that reflects the budget for 24 that gets approved in the December meeting, or is that just a special
A work
meeting?
session.
I don't know. I have to admit that I'm ignorant on that schedule. Is that what the rules are, that we have to have a meeting in November and then another one in December to approve what we discussed in November?
I think the one in
We
November,
need a public meeting, a public hearing.
yeah, I think where you just post the proposed budget and to give 30 days review by the public, and then it goes to vote in December or something like that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, maybe somebody needs to sort that out.
I'll
And
look into
tell me when we have to have a meeting, and then we'll do that.
I'll look into it. I got a friend over in the county, Caden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some specificity in the little manual too to refer back to, which
Yeah.
So we can verify that. And
Yeah, keep me on the straight and narrow.
good.
I appreciate that.
But I'm good with September 13th and December 6th. I just checked my book.
Mhm,
I think we're clear.
mhm.
We can
Well,
certainly attend anyways.
so we'll keep those on the books, and then see if we need to add some more.
I think the budget meeting is like a work session in November. I'm not certain.
Yeah, okay. We'll find that out. It's a good 5 months to November, so we'll still have a chance. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the lot sales. I was gonna mention ahead of time that this is not an auction. We're just receiving the offers and use them as a starting point. So we're not deciding right now who's gonna be able to buy the lots. I had better text at some point. Or is that exactly what I was gonna, hold on. Just hold on just a second. Okay. So, I think the first thing I would like to do is for John to confirm that what I think is true, that he received all the offers and that he is not, and that you have not shared that with anyone.
Yeah, that's correct, Alexa. They've all been received in confidence and, publicly certified. I've spoken to absolutely no one about them or any form of communication at all. So they're between me and the bidders.
Okay. So then I would ask you to just read the offers.
Okay, good deal. What I'm going to do is I'm sending them to you guys simultaneously, so that way there's no, no mistake. So I hope that works for you guys as a backup here.
Gmail.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again, Amy?
You're saying them to the TUID Gmail?
No, the bids were given to me through the tickaboo.com email. So that's where they're coming from to you guys, to you guys, TUID. So that's what we had in the, in there. So, but if that works, you guys should be receiving them, and I'll start with the first offer that we had, if that works for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first offer that was, the name is Gordon Orr, and just a second here. My offer disappeared. Hang on just a moment. Back up. Okay. Change here. So the offer states, I would like to bid on the following properties. 102, 103, 17,000 plus 5,000 for a total of 22,000. Then the next line says 104 for 5,000. So we'd have to clarify. I'm not sure if that's 22,000 for the first two, and then the other 5 for a total of 27, or if the 5,000 for 104 is part of the 22,000 in the summary. If you guys can see that email.
And is Mr. Orr on the meeting? If so, he can maybe clarify.
Yeah, I don't think so, and I did unfortunately did not email him back to clarify that at the time.
Well,
Yeah, but
okay.
I would say as a second set of eyes, make sure that you guys see what I see. That I'm unsure if that's that variance there, if that's addition to the first or inclusive.
If I were to guess, it's 22 plus 5,000.
Yeah.
I take it to mean that he wants both the 02 and 03 together for 22,000, spelled out as 17 and 5 respectively, and then 104 for $5,000. So it looks to me like he's wanting 102 and 103 as a combined offer, but he split each one up. But we could always call him to clarify.
Yeah, that may take that. Again, I didn't think about it at the time, so that may, as you said, it's not a today decision, so we do have time to clarify just to for the sake of clarity and, transparency.
Okay.
Okay, so we got that. Then I've got the second offer here is from Gene Babelis. I'm going to read two major points. The first one is the total for the offer. So I'm going to read from the real estate contract that he sent. So this is for the offers to purchase Tickaboo subdivision plat 2 lots number 102 with trailer, 103, 104, and Tickaboo subdivision plat number 3, numbers 45, 40, numbers 44, 45, 46, and 48. There's a combined purchase offer there of $120,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then further down, Mr. Babelis sent an itemized offer where he breaks it down per lot. And reading that, it's lot 102 with trailer is $50,000. Lot 103, $10,000. 104, $10,000. Lot 44, $15,000. Lot 45, $15,000. 46, $10,000, and then lot 48, $10,000. So he has a combined offer, and then he itemized them, per lot.
Well, that is completely unambiguous. So, I'd like to thank Eugene, when you're here, for your offer, and Mr. Orr, who is not here, but I'd like to thank the people that put in the offer. We will evaluate the offers and be in touch really, really soon. Yes.
Okay, so if I was listening to you correctly, you said earlier that this is going to be reviewed. Is it going to be reviewed soon so that we know where we're at with it, or is it going to wait till September, the next meeting?
No. We're not waiting.
Okay.
Well, you mentioned that you had a 1031.
Yeah, I do have a 1031, but if I'm not making my offer contingent on the 1031.
But if we can accommodate,
it may save me some tax money, but again,
so when does that the 1031 expire?
The 15th of June, I have to have it designated. I can close after that, but I have the 15th of June to enumerate and spell it out with my title company that's doing the 1031 exchange.
Okay.
But let me tell you that I put all the money into this offer, and I evaluated them and went through everything pretty thoroughly, I think. And I had experience with what I had purchased down there previously of the 4 lots across the street. And the biggest concern that I had in these offers is that since I bought those 4 lots, in trying to get a footprint for a building, I had to consolidate the 2 lots and 2 lots to make it only 2 lots. So 4 lots are now 2. In looking at this complex, or these lots, again, that's going to be required for me to consolidate, which should have been done in the first place. That lot 102, 103, and 104, I put them in all together as 1 lot. And the same thing's true with the over on the estate lots. There's 3 lots there that are congruent with each other. One of them is just plain junk. It's the one that has a partially cut out. It's next to the towers, everything else for the internet company. And it's just a poor lot, but combined, it makes a nice lot. And so it's going to be incumbent on us to do that. I'm not making that condition on an offer at all. I know I can get that done. I've talked to Caden Figgins and others. He worked very closely with me in getting the last time everything put together. But what I was trying to do is to make these so it's a better layout for us. So we're not just jamming these things in there, and that we're complying with zoning requirements for Garfield County, which have not been done in the past and has just been ignored. And I think henceforth, Caden said he's going to enforce them, and so I think that any one of these single lots individually on their own are not worth much, especially in the park, because of the way the zoning requirements are, setbacks, side yard requirements, and backyard requirements. So that's why I thought I made a fair offer based on numbers. So that's where I'm
Okay.
at.
Yeah, so we will give us a few days to evaluate the offer, and then, you know, who wants to be the point person for further discussions? John, is that going to be you?
Yeah, it can be.
Will
If
you?
you guys want to define that and let me know what I need to do, I'll certainly be glad to facilitate, any communications or discussions we need to have.
Okay, give us some time to evaluate, and we will not dawdle.
Okay. I appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to say adios. So
Okay, well, good
thank
to,
you.
to meet you,
Okay,
not quite
thank you.
face to face, but I can now recognize you when I meet
We-
you in the street.
We'll make that happen sometime soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
have a good evening.
Thanks, guys. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Gene.
Okay. I lost my agenda. There it is. So we have a whole bunch of resolutions that we have prepared. I had secretly hoped that Mike would have put them on the notice side. I have them up on my screen. Shall I share my screen so we can kind of read what we're talking about? We
Yes.
think that's a good idea?
I think so.
Percent now. A window. I think this is the one I want. Do you all now see Tickaboo Resolution 2023-02?
Yes.
Okay, so this one is a formal confirmation of deeds already done. It's about the management agreement. It formalizes that after having a request for proposal out on U3P, the state bidding site, and having job postings on Indeed.com and similar platforms, the board has decided that we were going to enter into an agreement with North Lake Powell, and we presented the terms in our March 1st meeting, and the agreement that we signed on April 1st, or a couple of days after April 1st, was pretty much what we presented at the time. So we signed it, and this just ratifies that that decision. So I think we should put this on our public notice site after this meeting. This has the whole agreement as an attachment. So does anyone have any comments or anything to say about that before I'm going to ask for a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to say that I'm just really, really pleased having John here. When we looked at that contract and thought about the deliverables, summer crept up on us, and we're as busy as we've ever been in the last 2 or 3 years. And it's really nice having somebody, a very astute businessman who understands procedure and efficiencies, to step up and be the face of TUID now. So, John, you might not hear it too often, but thank you very much. You've really been a blessing for that position. You obviously know what's going on, and I'm really proud to be working with you over the next several years.
Yeah, and I'll comment on that briefly too. I know there was a comment made, and I think it was more in the form of a question of, I can't recall it exactly verbatim, but it was, I think, question to you, Madam Chairman, about NLP getting a foothold, and they need that time. I want to put that in context publicly, and I'll tie it in with the recent and relevant. When we had maintenance done at the generator house, the rule on the machines is either by hours or by year. you either do it yearly or a number of hours. Sometimes it can be 5, 10, 20,000. We had, number one, our big backup C-15, the last maintenance that was done in 2018. So I want to put getting a foothold in context. Sometimes to get a foothold, you go backwards in time. So I just want to be really clear that it's not for lack of familiarity, not for lack of professionalism. Sometimes you go back and do things, and it may be because it needs to be done, and it may be because people do things differently. There's a saying that I like in business, that's your way, my way, and the right way. So I like to practice the right way. So a foothold put in context, if anybody ever asks, and I'll be glad to show them too. I'm very open and want to show people where their water comes from and power, and let everybody have that appreciation for it. But there's a lot of work that goes into it, from the admin to the field end. So it's good to have that familiarity. And, our goal here is to be, professional. And listen, if there's money out there, alternative energy, anything that saves people money and makes things reliable is the goal, with professionalism and service. To me, it's a servant role, is going to be at the forefront of that. So that's, I want to put that question in context of what we're, doing and what I'm doing too.
Well, just speaking for myself, I'm getting to the point where I don't know what we would do without John.
Yeah.
So I have full faith in your abilities and your good intentions.
Well, good. No, and as you guys know, I want to do this. It's a choice to be here. So philosophically, and I like everyone in Tickapoo. I'd like to deliver power, and I'm always available. Will probably be more so as we get things, settled in. Like we talk about the billing and getting a credit card back, which seems insignificant, but is actually a huge step for us. So yeah, no, I'm glad to be here too, and it's a noble cause to give people power and water, and do it professionally and reliably too. So it's a labor of love, so to speak, for lack of a better term, to be able to do this.
Well, I'm very happy that we're at this point where we can officially ratify the management agreement and the reason for your presence in Tickapoo.
Good.
So unless anybody has any comments to make, I'm gonna ask for a motion.
I motion that we adopt resolution 2023-02.
And I second that motion, and everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And there's nobody else here to say no, so motion is accepted. We'll get that signed and posted to the public notice site. Okay, next up is the procurement policy. This was completely not my idea. That was just because the little book for service districts, that turns out not to be so little, tells us that we need to have a procurement policy, and the Department of Finance helpfully had in an example, and I went through and made sure that the cutoffs and matched the agreement that we had with North Lake Powell, and it's not. I think that the most interesting part is that under $1,000, the manager can just go out and buy whatever it is he needs. Over $1,000, the board has to approve it, and over $15,000, they have to go for competitive bids. I think that is the meat of this policy. Does anybody have any questions, comments about this? If not, I'm just gonna ask for a motion again.
I motion that we adopt resolution 2023-03.
And I second that motion. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I should probably say for people that that only get the audio that Amy Golden and Alexa Wilson both voted yes. No. One of these days I'll learn how to do this properly. Okay, next one. Those rules also specify certain functions by certain officers. So we have to decide who is going to be in which position, and some of them come from from the procurement policy, and other, like the purchasing officer is a position that comes from the procurement policy. The chair, treasurer, and clerk comes from the general board rules, and the records officer, I think, comes from GRAMA, the Government Records something Act. So Government Records something Management Act. That talks about public documents. So this resolution confirms that in our first meeting, we voted for a chair and a treasurer, and that was me, Alexa Wilson, as chair, and Michael Morlang, who's not here, but has been doing a great job as treasurer for the last few months. I was going to propose, we didn't appoint a clerk at that point because we knew that we were going to have to look for a manager, and that is a position that is often fulfilled by the manager. So right now I'd like to propose John Motley as a clerk, financial officer Ray Golden, purchasing officer John again, and Amy Golden as the record officer. Anybody? Comments, questions, snarky remarks? If not, Amy.
I motion that we adopt resolution 2023-04.
I second that motion. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye, yes.
Aye. That's Amy Golden and Alexa Wilson in favor, so the motion is adopted. Next one. The next two are suggested by UAMPS. As I mentioned earlier, we were at their office last week, and we discussed the contracts that we had with UAMPS that included a general membership agreement that, I mean, it's pages long, but it's just all legalese. But basically, it says that we're a member of UAMPS now. That comes with certain obligations and privileges. The other agreement we had with UAMPS is we were a member of the pool project. When TUID became a member of UAMPS, the cheapest option for membership at the time was as a member of the pool project. That whole document is based on the fiction that we can ask for additional power from UAMPS members, and that we can deliver to UAMPS members any power that we generate that we can't use. Clearly, that is not happening. In the meantime, but since at that time it was the cheapest and option that there was in their organization structure, we just did that. fairly recently, they came up with a new program that's called a member services agreement, where you can just be a member, and if at least two members have a project they want to do, then UMs can help them do that. They can administer it for them, and they also have services that they can deliver to individual members. It's a lot cheaper. Instead of $4,000 per year, it costs $620 per year. And that comes to, I don't know, 50 something per month. It seems entirely manageable and also entirely worth it given the expertise that they have and that they are willing to share with us. So they proposed, and in their process, they need the district to adopt a motion that says that we want to enter into that member services agreement. So this motion talks about terminating the power pooling agreement and entering into the member services agreement with TUID. As I think I stuck the whole thing. I mean, it's most of this agreement tells you that you have to pay your bills. That is mostly what it says, which of course we agree with. If anybody feels like plowing through it, it's fairly thick legalese. So I'm proposing that we retain a membership of UMs and that we change our project from the power pooling agreement to the member services agreement. Any questions, comments?
I think that's a wise decision.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. No, we can never, I'd love to be, but we'll never be in the position to, provide projects or initiate them. But I would love to be on the receiving end of any and all help we can get. And yeah, Alexa, what you mentioned about those guys being able to do the rate studies, that's awesome. Again, it, saves money and gets us information at the same time. So and I get emails from them pretty regularly, and you guys see I forward them to you. And yeah, the information they give out, they do seem like they're a nice group with a lot of resources and knowledge.
And they definitely seem to be willing to help.
It's awesome.
That is good. Okay, so if there are no more questions or comments, then I'm going to ask for a motion again.
A motion that we adopt resolution number 2023-05.
And I second that motion. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's Amy Golden and Alexa Wilson voting in favor. So this resolution has been adopted. The next and last one is, if you are a member of UAMS, you need to appoint a representative, a person that UMs can contact if there are any issues. That is the first conduit for any information, any communication. And John has been so kind to pile that on top of his already very long lists of positions and tasks. And Ray, are you willing to be the alternate?
Sure, no problem.
Good. Well, that's really all that this resolution says. I get the impression that UAMS is a little strict on process, which is probably a good thing. So, unless anybody has any questions or comments, I'm going to again ask for a motion.
A motion that we adopt resolution number 2023-06.
And I second that motion. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And aye. Alexa Wilson, Amy Golden, both voted in favor, so this resolution has also been adopted. So I suggest I'll set the whole slew up on for digital signatures.
That'd be great.
And then, Madam Chair, there's still the task of changing that representative at UAMP. So is that just a matter of sending them this resolution with?
Yes,
Right.
that's how Jackie suggested that. If we pass this resolution, then this will replace the previous resolution
So we have to send it.
appointing the previous representative.
So we have to send this to the UAMP, to send this to Jackie so that she can
Yes.
handle it on her end. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So we'll sign it, and then I'll send the two motions to Jackie, and I think we're good then.
I need to attach my photo to that too. Need to probably get a good one, right? Something. I've got the stock photo you can use if you need it too.
I don't know. Does it need a photo?
Yes, when Chip was a representative, his picture's on there.
I think Chip was on the UM's board.
Oh, okay. I'm good either way.
Well, no, because they have their board members, and then they have everybody else too. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good
Yeah,
either
that's
way.
right. Send yeah, if you send me a picture of
Will
your
do.
smiling face.
I like the
Will do.
one where you're staying out in front of the TUID truck in your uniform.
Yeah, that's the PR photo that we can use for stuff like that.
Good. Then I will send that all to Jackie, and then they can stick that on their website, and hopefully good things will come from that. So
Yeah,
I
think it's
believe
great. Yeah.
we have made it to the bottom of our agenda. So unless anyone has anything else, I believe we can adjourn.
Okay, and I'll look into that November meeting and let you all know sometime, probably this week or next week.
Yeah,
I
that'd be great.
actually misspoke. September 13th. We're not going to be in service, I don't think, but I could do the next week or the first week in August, or
Okay.
just
Yeah, let's coordinate calendars, and we can just stick the dates on the public notice website
that sounds good.
once we sort them out.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, one quick comment, guys. As long as you're good, I've got all the meeting notes and the minutes, and I'll put those in the document and send to you guys for review and editing and approval. Get to
Well,
work on
thank
this tomorrow.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We're all set.
Okay, so Amy, one more time, a motion to adjourn.
Motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I second that motion, and everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Amy Golden, Alexa Wilson, both voted in favor of adjourning, so that's it for this time. Back next
All
time.
right. All right. Thank you,
Okay,
guys. Have a
thank
good
you
night.
all.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.